Okay. Good morning, everyone. I think we're ready to start. So I'm James Oyster, or you can call me Jim. I'm one of the signatories to the petition that was delivered today to the governor. There'll be several speakers here, and we want to thank the journalists for being here, doing what only they can do. And we want to thank all the people who are here, all of you who are here to show the governor that we're concerned about this issue and that we would like to have her protect us from the federal overreach regarding the Wipp. And as the reminder, please, try to maintain some social distance. 6 feet is, I think, still what is recommended, but and wear a mask if you feel comfortable. All right, so just to sort of recap, Wipp is the waste isolation power plant. This is the only dump for nuclear weapons waste in the nation, and it was supposed to be closed in 2024. That is all the mission that Wipp originally had. So that's Wipp. We also want to thank the governor for allowing us to present these more than 1,000 signatures from concerned citizens to her office. Also, I want to say Tara Lujan, Representative Lujan was here. She's not here now, but she was here in solidarity with us. These signatures that I mentioned, you can see on this zip code map. These are all the zip codes that we got signatures from. Now, this is not, the number of people that signed. This just shows that people from all over the state are concerned about this issue. There will be a question and answer period after the speakers present for those who have more questions. The press may pick up press kits from Robin Sadel. There she is. And the press release has also been translated into Spanish. Our first speaker is Commissioner Anna Hansen of District 2.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I want to start by taking a moment of silence for the people of Ukraine who are fighting a deadly fight against a huge nuclear power. I feel that it is our responsibility as citizens and residents of New Mexico who are also basically a large nuclear power to stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. And so if we could please take a moment of silence for them, and also remember that they gave up their nuclear weapons for protection from the West. We owe them protection. They did the right thing by giving up their weapons and leading the way. And we in New Mexico could also give up the weapons here. So I think that many of you know I have been a longtime advocate of anti-nuclear activity in this state and making sure that we are protected. Concerned Citizens for Nuclear Safety. I was the board chair in 2000. It says Concerned Citizens for Nuclear Safety. That is why we are here today, because we want nuclear safety. This transportation route is deeply concerning to me. First of all, it does not protect us here in Santa Fe County. We are going to have waste transported twice through our communities. That is a very serious thing, especially not knowing how it's packaged. We fought years and years to make sure that we had decent true packs to protect the waste, the transuranic waste that was coming off of the hill. As many of you probably know, I still continue to fight to get the waste off of the hill. That to me is incredibly important. We have legacy waste up there that must be removed, not 28 years from now, but now it needs to be removed. And so this transportation of this waste along our highways and the potential risk of health and safety to our motorists and residents along these routes is substantial. The transportation of nuclear weapon waste will also impact 10 other states, I-40 east from New Mexico to South Carolina and back along I-20 west from South Carolina to New Mexico. The waste that needs to go to Wipp needs to be from legacy waste at Los Alamos, period. And we do not need to be set on the back burner ahead of Idaho and Washington and other states with having their waste sent to Wipp. I represent District 2 in Santa Fe County. Two of my other commissioners in District 4 and 5 also held town halls informing people of this issue. We had probably over 200 people turn out for both of those town halls. I held mine at the Nancy Rodriguez Center. And you know, it's so important to spread the word and inform people of this. When Cindy and I had the ability to speak in front of the radioactive and nuclear waste transportation, nuclear waste committee for the Roundhouse, they agreed to write a letter. You know, these are important things that keep the momentum going. This is another process in keeping the momentum going and making sure that we are bringing this topic to the forefront. I have also brought it up at the New Mexico Transportation Committee for the state of New Mexico, which oversees DOT. So these are other places where we can get our message out, and we must work to get the message out. So thank you. I'm going to be brief because there are many other speakers, but I thank you all for being here. Please keep Ukraine in your prayers and send them love and support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Hansen. Our next speaker is Ed Hughes, a rancher from Quay County.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My wife, Patty, and I own a small ranch in Quay County near Interstate 40. The expansion of Wipp that the Department of Energy is planning will impact our ranch as well as many others. These new shipments proposed of 48-some tons of concentrated plutonium will pass our neighborhood, our area, our place twice. First, it'll be transported from Amarillo to Los Alamos National Labs for processing. Second, it will come back the same route from Los Alamos on 40 all the way to South Carolina. And it will pass us in powdered plutonium form, which is its most dangerous form. And finally, it will pass more communities along Interstate 20, coming back again to Wipp, as Commissioner Hansen has spoken of. We think of the many thousands and thousands of acres along these routes, ranch land, farmland, communities, people. And we, my wife and I, as well as you all, we're deeply concerned about what will happen, or what Sandia National Labs has even written reports saying that powdered plutonium is almost impossible to remove. So what that means is any accidental release of this powdered plutonium will mean that all land and buildings contaminated anywhere this happens, it'll be contaminated forever. It will have to be abandoned forever, as well as the people that live there, no more. It'll be an exclusion zone for thousands of years. This land is really the lifeblood of our family, of our community, our businesses, our future, and our hopes and dreams for our children and our grandchildren. That's what we're risking. We have been told by a representative of the Department of Energy in a public meeting in Clovis in 2017 that New Mexico has a target on its back for high-level nuclear waste. And we believe that this is just another example of us being that target. So we are asking the governor to deny any future permitting that would allow the federal government to carry through this poorly planned and high-risk plan for our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Our next speaker is Kathleen Sanchez, given Tewa name of Wenpovi. She's an elder of the San Ildefonso Pueblo and a founding mother of the Tewa Women United, which you see here. She couldn't be here with us today, so she has recorded her comments.
Sengitamo, umbia gindi. No, Wenpovi ang omu. Ohoge uingewi ang omu. I am Elder Kathy Wenpovi Sanchez, born and raised in San Ildefonso Pueblo. I have lived here all my whole life, and I know the struggles and joys of living in a communal way of sharing and caring for all relations. I wholeheartedly believe in beloved communities. Thus, as a part of Tewa Women United, we believe that sovereignty is living truth from our hearts, living with Tewa embodiment into our lifeways with hopefulness for all life. This also includes social activism to assure the health and safety of families, communities, peoples, children, sacred spaces, and all of Mother Earth. I have an urgency to what I am about to say. We land-based peoples were robust, thriving farming communities. We still do family farming to meet our urgent sustainable needs. This again is being threatened. Thus, a part of Tewa Women United's mission is that of ending all forms of violence against Mother Earth and promoting peace in New Mexico. Therefore, I have dedicated my life to see that the environmental violence our national laboratories, especially the nuclear missioned ones, such as the Los Alamos National Laboratory, to see that they change from their culture of violent ways, stop practicing terroricide against Mother Earth and all precious living beings, and start to be about harmonizing, humanizing, relationally, also be bound to loving, caring, and sharing life-affirming pathways. Thus, it becomes clear in stating the creation of nuclear weaponry uses plutonium, and that plutonium has to be transported on our highways. Plutonium plays a critical role in weapons of mass destruction, the ability to kill. A deadly form of plutonium is described as powdered plutonium that will travel past us on our highways. When powdered plutonium is released by choice or by a mishap or a collision or an act of terrorism, it is inhaled by anyone outside, and since we cannot feel or taste it, we are unaware of the magnitude of the danger. How could an emergency crew arrive in time to determine if a release has occurred and warn people not to be outside or not to be breathing the air? Because of our connectivity to growing our foods, our ability to be happy, healthy, and holistically connected to our lands and each other, our impact will be a major grief and loss situation. Sorrowfully, our children attend schools along this transportation route of powdered plutonium. It will pass them and us. It will pass us 2 times in this federal plan, a scheme of calculated death. Children are the most at risk. If a release of powdered plutonium occurs, because even an invisible speck of plutonium in this form causes cancer 100% of the time. It may take months to years, but children and us who are exposed will develop cancer. We risk the genocide of our whole next generation and terroricide of our lands. We call on the governor to protect us from harm by banishing this highly risky, disgusting transportation plan. Thank you for listening from your heart-centered consciousness. Gutta. Thank you. Viwoayini. Be with life-affirming blessings.
I like the drums back there. Our final speaker today is Cynthia Wheeler. She's the co-chair of 285 All, which is a community organization that addresses issues that affect all the 23 communities that are along Highway 285 south of Santa Fe.
So, thanks for coming. Today, I'm not only speaking for the communities along Highway 285, along 285 where I live, I'm speaking for all the communities on the radioactive waste transport route both to and from Lanel. So that includes 502, the 4 pueblos that are on that route, the bypass around 599, the southern edge of Santa Fe, and all of the farmers and ranchers all the way along Interstate 40 to the Texas border. I'm also speaking for all of the communities in these 11 states that are also on the route. They'll be on the route both coming and going. All these communities will be at a higher level of risk because they're all on the radioactive transport route planned in the new Department of Energy mission to expand Wipp. And none of them know it. I'm calling out the DOE and Wipp today. They've covered up the new mission so that the public and our elected officials either don't understand it or don't even know about it. They refuse to meet with us. They distort the facts given to the media, even redefining words like transuranic so that now it means not that harmful when it really means nothing of the sort. They try to break the expansion up into pieces so that each one separately looks innocent. They act as if they can play the public. We disagree. So let me be clear. DOE is changing Wipp in every fundamental way, and it will have a huge effect on us. 1, the waste will be an unauthorized and much more dangerous form of plutonium. 2, when added to the huge new waste stream from new pit production, Wipp will need to hold 50% more waste than is allowed. 3, instead of stopping shipments of waste to Wipp in 2024, it will continue taking more for most of the rest of the century. 4, the shipments past our communities will increase many times over, and much of that waste won't be traveling in TruPack containers. This information comes from the Federal Register and the National Academies of Sciences. New Mexico agreed to host Wipp after carefully crafting agreements that limit what the federal government can do with it. It was afraid that this very thing would happen, and the DOE didn't disappoint. Wipp's mission can only be changed if the DOE breaks every legal agreement it made with New Mexico in order to get it to host the Wipp site in the first place. These agreements are still in place. To break them without changing the law or the permits, they are not allowed to break them without changing the law or the permits, and New Mexico simply needs to insist that they be honored, something that the New Mexico Environment Department has refused to do. You know, the DOE is right to withhold this information from New Mexicans. It's unethical, it's illegal, but it's the right thing to do, because when the public is told, it says no. Over 1,000 New Mexicans in all of these zip codes shown on this map signed this petition as soon as they saw it. This is the first any of them had heard about Wipp expanding, the first time the risks had been explained. So today, we delivered the petitions to the governor that many of you signed. The signers asked for her protection from this federal overreach. We ask her because she has the tools in the form of these agreements to stop this. The petition says that her constituents support any actions she takes to protect them from this planned expansion, and that it's time for DOE to find other sites for new waste. We've requested a response by March 15th. New Mexico has done its part. Our agreements need to be honored. We made them in good faith, and the DOE should not be trying to pull a last-minute bait and switch by bringing waste to Wipp that wasn't agreed to. More importantly, the DOE doesn't get to put us at risk quietly, in secret, and in an information blackout. If it wants to try to put us at risk, it needs to do so openly and in the full light of day.
Thank you, Cindy. Also, thank you to Anna and Kathleen, and thank all of you for coming. If anyone has any questions, we open up the press conference to questions at this time. Step forward so we can hear you, and then...
Isn't the DOE required to renew the social contract with New Mexico, given that the mission has changed substantially from what it was originally supposed to be?
All right, the question was, isn't DOE required to renew the contract with New Mexico, given the substantial changes that are happening in this new mission? Who would like to take that?
I think the simple question is yes.
That would, yeah, that certainly seems to me that they should do that, or at least the governor should hold their toes to the fire. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
They did not pass. So it is really important in the next 60-day session for all of us to contact our legislators, and be present. Representative Steinborn, Matthew McQueen, and Representative Tara Lujan have been vigilant on this request, and this would have made some impact, but also the letter that was sent from the Radioactive and Hazardous Waste Committee to the governor is also important. And Jeff Steinborn, senator from Las Cruces, is the chair of that committee, and he needs our support. They all need our support. They all need to know that we are here standing behind them and working with them. So it would have helped to some extent, but what we need to do is put pressure on the governor.
Yes, please come up with your question. Yep. Come over here. This one's working.
Do we know why the Environment Department is not being cooperative? And are they likely to advise the governor also not to be cooperative? And is there anything that we can do to make sure that as an executive agency, the Environment Department hears us loud and clear?
I would suggest that you all send emails and letters to the Environment Department, and yes, they do advise the governor, so it is appropriate for them to hear constituents' concerns.
Hi, I'm Joni Ahrens. I'm a co-founder of Concerned Citizens for Nuclear Safety. One thing is to become familiar with the CNC agreement, which is a consultation and cooperation agreement that Jeff Bingaman, when he was Attorney General, negotiated with DOE about the Wipp site. And we'll have a fact sheet on our Stop Forever Wipp webpage. That's number one. And then there's a provision in there that says that the public is a party to this agreement. And we need to use our public part to be able to convey to the other parties, which are the governor and the state agencies, that we want them to be negotiating with DOE, we want a seat at the table, and we don't want this expansion. And we need to continue to write the letters to the editor. We need to be on the radio stations talking about this. This is a threat. And as a co-founder of CCNS, I believe DOE when they said, we're going to clean up the entire DOE complex of transuranic waste in 25 years, and then we're going to close Wipp. And just in an article by the Carlsbad Argus this week, they said, oh, we're going to keep it open until 2050 with nothing. And so we have to build up our outrage beyond your attendance here at this press conference. Our outrage needs to say, we have rights under this agreement, number one. Number two, we want to be at the table during the negotiations, and we oppose any expansion of Wipp, because this is what DOE said 25 years ago. We're going to clean it up, and we're going to close Wipp in 25 years, which is 2024. So with that, you know, we have a Stop Forever Wipp webpage, and there's a lot of information on there, but we need to build that effort. So your participation would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Joni. There's a question there. Come on down.
I'm Deborah Reed, and when I first came to New Mexico in 1980, I immediately found out about Wipp and what it was coming down the pipeline. And it was my understanding that Wipp it's a waste isolation pilot plant. It's supposed to be a pilot plant for two or more other facilities that are sites that were supposed to take the rest of the waste. Wipp was never supposed to take every single bit of radioactive military waste that this country has created, but that's what DOE wants to do now. They have shown no interest in finding any other pilot plants or any other plants, any other waste facilities for this waste, which leaves Wipp as the only one. This is not right. It was supposed to be a pilot plant. It was not supposed to be the only plant.
Yes, sir, in the back.
Thank you all for being here. I'm the Secretary of the Veterans for Peace in Albuquerque. We have members in central and southern New Mexico as well. We have a priority concerning nuclear waste, both military waste and also power plant waste. We want no waste aimed at New Mexico coming to New Mexico. Actually, there is waste from countries outside the United States that is aimed at New Mexico because international corporations in the United States are processing, processing is a word I hate to use, but receiving waste from foreign countries, and that is aimed at New Mexico and West Texas as well. Where is the Harry Reid for New Mexico? Now, we don't expect any of our political leaders to necessarily become a leader of the U.S. Senate. However, Harry Reid said that he would lay down in the tracks at Yucca Mountain in order to stop waste from coming to Nevada, to Yucca Mountain. We need leaders that will lay down on the interstate, on the highways. I know that probably many of the people here, I know that Sally Alice Thompson of the Albuquerque Veterans for Peace said that she would stand in the highway with her walker and be arrested. I will too. And I hope that everyone here seriously considers doing that and seriously considers being arrested. We need that now because it should have been done when Wipp started, but it's not too late to do it. So I will be there. Sally Alice Thompson will be there. I hope some of our political leaders will be there and have the courage that the Speaker of the Senate, Harry Reid, said he had and he was ready to exhibit. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Well, there's one more. Come on over.
Hi, good afternoon. Kathleen Burke, Bernalillo County. I have a question for the experts in the room. Thank you. Would a green amendment be helpful to this process at this point? A green amendment, would that be helpful to stopping this? Any experts in the room?
I would say possibly, but are there any other experts that want to come in?
Joni? I'm sorry, I didn't understand what amendment?
Would the green amendment, would having a green amendment be helpful to preventing this?
I'm not really up on that to be able to tell you exactly what I would think, but I will say that we've identified the governor as really being the key person here. She's the one who has some ability to make changes for us, and the legislature, we found, is just kind of, because it's a federal issue, is not able to help us as much as we'd like. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hanson, did you want to?
Yeah, I agree. This is a federal issue, and I suggest, as the speaker before, contact Senator Heinrich, contact Senator Ben Ray Lujan, contact Teresa Ledger Fernandez, Melanie Stansberry. Let them know how you feel about this. This is a federal issue. So that is my belief. That is what I try to talk to them about. They do not like to talk about this issue. I'm sure many of you already know that. But doesn't mean we have to stop talking to them. It means that we have to talk more.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to comment on the Green Amendment and how it might be helpful in prevention? Athena, why don't you? Yeah, thank you.
Well, and we might, because this is for...
It's also it might be related, but I think it's also a little off topic for this press conference.
Thank you. Thank you.
But-
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Very well said. And but to keep on track here for the press, because I know they're busy, I wanted to say one other thing. People have been saying what you can do, and they're wonderful suggestions, but there's one other thing you can do. We can give presentations to any group that's interested. We would be happy to. We do it. We'll travel to get there. We did it in the town halls, and that gave a lot of people this information that they didn't have. Recently, I spoke to the Citizens Advisory Board that's connected to Lannel, and they were stunned. They didn't know about this. So what we need to do is get this information out, and if you have a group, a church, whatever, please contact us and let us, come and speak if that's an interest.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Santa Fe County supported the Green Amendment. Just so you all know, Santa Fe County also wrote a resolution opposing high-level waste being transported through the boundaries of Santa Fe County. Santa Fe County is a leader, and I am honored to be part of that leadership that is representing all of the citizens here. Thank you very much.
So unless there are any other questions, I think that will do it for us. Thank you all for coming. And the only thing I could add is, keep your eyes and ears open, keep informed, because knowledge is power, and that's what we need. Thank you.